with coverage you can count on. This is the Erie News NOWCAST.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm Mark Salda. Let's check some of the stories we are following here at Erie News Now. We begin with the very latest on the big breaking stories as we move through this Wednesday morning. Authorities now looking for answers after the president of Haiti was assassinated in what's being described as a middle-of-the-night attack. The Caribbean nation's acting prime minister confirmed that Haitian President Jovenel Moise was killed in his private home early today. The acting prime minister, Claude Joseph, said a group attacked the current prime minister's home around 1 o'clock this morning. They killed that 53-year-old Moise, shot his 47-year-old wife as well. She is still recovering from that gunshot wound. Again, the interim prime minister says in control of security in Haiti, where a history of dictatorship and political upheaval have really delayed any consolidation of democratic rule. Moise became Haiti's president back in 2017, but again, Jovenel Moise, Haiti's president, assassinated early this morning. Closer to home in Crawford County, the search is on for the man wanted in connection to a deadly shooting from over the weekend. Police in Meadville have identified the man killed there back on Saturday. Police have issued an arrest warrant in the case. They're looking for this 25-year-old Timothy Bolden, not charged with the murder. At this point, he's wanted for robbery and trespassing. Investigators say it was 19-year-old Nathaniel Harris who was shot and killed during that robbery at his home along Walnut Street in Meadville. Again, this is all Saturday morning. Authorities say they're investigating more than one person as part of this murder probe, and they're still asking anybody with information on this case to get a hold of police down in Meadville. The victim in a local murder from earlier this year going to be the focus of another one of those Take Back the Site vigils set for tonight. It's all the effort of a group of local nuns. Dates back to March 23rd, this individual case does. That's when that 25-year-old Casey Nadolny from Titusville was shot and killed here near the intersection of Zook and Zimmerly Roads, not too far from the Mill Creek Mall. Police say it was a robbery plot. 2 people were charged in that one. Now tonight at 5:15, the Sisters of St. Joseph are going to be holding a vigil at that Mill Creek intersection to remember Casey Nadolny and to symbolically reclaim that spot in the name of peace. Those sisters say they are planning to live stream that event tonight on their Facebook page. Well, overnight, Elsa, that storm down south, was downgraded from a hurricane to a tropical storm as it makes its way towards landfall on Florida, somewhere between Tampa Bay and the Big Bend region. That's where Elsa's tracking. It became the first hurricane of the Atlantic season before again being downgraded overnight to a tropical storm status. Elsa being blamed for 1 death on the island of St. Lucia as well as 2 in the Dominican Republic. Meantime, officials overseeing the search and rescue efforts at that collapsed condo down in Florida say they haven't detected any signs of life in that rubble after nearly 2 weeks of digging, not since shortly after it all happened. That's as the death toll climbed to 36 on Tuesday, with more than 100 people still unaccounted for. More than 200 first responders from across the country are involved in that ongoing search. It did get delayed yesterday when some lightning from the outer bands of Elsa kind of complicated things. Crews had to stop that effort for some 2 hours on Tuesday. The mayor of Miami-Dade, Florida, says the families of those folks still missing in this one are preparing for news of tragic loss. Well, back here at home, we're less than 2 months away from the start of another high school football season. In the effort to find a new coach for Erie High School, it's basically back to square one. The Erie School District's reopened its search for that next Erie High coach. District leaders say it'll be a full and open search after the teachers union and 2 union candidates for that job waived their contract rights that would require that hire come from within the union. So that lets candidates from outside the teachers union apply to be the Erie High head football coach. That would include this guy, former pro football player Javon Johnson, the Erie native, who initially wanted that position.
You know, I can't say that I'm going to turn it down, but, you know, I'm definitely going to hear all sides, you know, because it's been a whirlwind of a process and, you know, so many ups and downs and turns and left turns, right turns. So I want to see what exactly is on the table, and then I'll make a decision going forward from there.
Erie School District leaders say they're going to start the search immediately, but they say there's no set timetable for making that hire. Well, sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson won't be a part of the U.S. Olympic track and field team. That roster unveiled on Tuesday. Richardson was not picked for the women's 4x100 meter relay. She actually won a pretty decisive victory in the women's 100 meter dash at those Olympic trials last month. But on Friday, the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency announced that Richardson had been suspended for a full month. That was after testing positive for THC, which is found in marijuana. The positive test automatically disqualified Richardson's trials results. Well, the deadline for parents to make what could be a big decision about their child's education, that deadline's coming up next week. It's all part of a new state law that lets parents decide if their kids should move on to the next grade level or be held back for a year due to learning disruptions coming from the pandemic. So parents who want their kids to repeat the last school year without any penalty would have to complete a standardized form and get it back to their school district no later than July 15th, 1 week from tomorrow. State officials say the deadline is set up to give schools enough time to plan for any changes in class sizes. That form to, again, delay your kids moving on to the next grade level. You can find that and download it from the State Education Department's website. Well, 8 Great Tuesdays made its return last night to Liberty Park, but if you missed out on that, there is another chance for some live outdoor music today. The Erie Philharmonic set to continue its series of outdoor performances that they have scheduled over the summer months. Got it started last month, and today they're asking folks to bring those chairs and blankets out to Gibson Park in Northeast. These free shows, according to the Phil, just a way of them saying thanks to the community. And if you're planning on going, that show out at Gibson Park in Northeast set to start at 7 p.m. Lawn chairs, blankets, umbrella, David?
Yeah, potentially. We are looking at that chance for some scattered storms as we head towards the evening hours. So, yeah, the risk of going up as we do get a little bit later in the day. And a few of the storms could be a little extra. We'll talk about that in just a moment. 82 degrees right now at Presque Isle. Later in the day, you can see those yellow bars, just indicative of that storm chance. So if you do have a beach trip early this afternoon into the middle part of the afternoon, you should be okay. But as we continue on in time, that's when clouds may be billowing up a little bit more. Make sure you have that Erie News Now app. You can get the first warning weather update, the latest video forecast, and also a live radar. Bayfront looking quite delightful out there. We have a bit of a breeze as we have had over the last couple of days. Water's not as choppy as what they were yesterday. Increasing storm chances as we head towards the evening hours, especially after 3 o'clock. And this is really for like Crawford County. I think we could get that activity going right around the middle of the afternoon before it begins to spread a little bit farther to the north. Main threat going to be those strong winds, maybe in excess of 60 miles per hour. So that could take down trees. It can also take down power lines, knock out power. So hot and muggy for most of the day. Good amount of sunshine, but the storm's coming up later on today. And tomorrow looks to be a bit more active without much of a severe threat, though. We are expecting more of those storms in the forecast. Right now, Doppler Max is all quiet, and as we continue through the morning into the afternoon hours, not seeing much through 2 o'clock, but you'll notice after 3, that's when we start to see some of those areas of heavier rain. Could be some strong gustier winds in there. And still, Futurecast keeping a lot of that activity south of the lakeshore. So once we get a little bit deeper into the evening hours, really into the early evening hours, a little bit after sunset, we can still see some of those storms out there. And we will contend with a couple of extra storms before midnight and maybe 1 or 2 trying to show up on the overnight, but things will come back together later on in the overnight period. And to start off your Thursday, that's when we're expecting some more of those rounds of showers and thunderstorms, because the clouds will not allow for much sunshine to come on through these storms. Not likely to be severe, but certainly there is that threat for some heavier rainfall, and you can see that line moving on through later in the day. That's the actual cold front pushing on through. That will settle things down towards the end of the week. Temperatures right now, we're working our way into the 80s, 82 in Erie, 76 in Bradford after a little bit of fog to start the day, 75 in Jamestown, and that muggy meter continues to remain on the high side. So yeah, it's that stickiness in the air. You have the humidity, you have the heat. That's what can allow for some of those heftier storms overall. Let's check out Elsa, the latest on the storm. Winds of 65 miles per hour. It is very, very close to the coast right now, moving north at 14 miles per hour. You can see it's continuing through Georgia, the Carolinas. We actually do have tropical storm warnings in effect for portions of Georgia and the Carolinas, watches along the coast of North Carolina into Virginia. And this is still tracking over the U.S. as we get into the early morning hours of Friday. We'll brush by Long Island over there towards Nantucket and eventually out into the Canadian Maritime as we get into the weekend. So still watching Elsa. No impact on our weather. It will be too far to the east. All right, for today, we are expecting temperatures into the lower and middle 80s as we continue into the afternoon. Watching those storms going to pop up during the middle part of the afternoon down there into Crawford County before they try to trek their way a little bit farther north, but we will have scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast late today out there in Warren County. But in the meantime, we got the heat, we got the humidity, so hydration is always key, and we also obviously need the sunscreen and the sunglasses as well. So be safe in this kind of weather. We'll talk more about maybe some cooler and drier weather as we slide into the weekend. That's in just a moment.
Before that 7-day forecast, though, a question that I think philosophers have really debated for decades. No, they haven't. But you may have wondered why Ritz crackers have scalloped edges. Well, we have the answer apparently this morning. The question came up on Twitter and kind of went viral. Lots of folks assumed that the ridges on the Ritz crackers were for aesthetic purposes, but now in a TikTok video, Ritz reveals, they say anyway, the ridges are there to cut cheese. Not the cheese, just cheese. But the revelation left some folks saying things like, my childhood was a lie, and others writing, yeah, that's not what they're for. You just made that up. The folks at Ritz responded, well, Ritz were allowed to make things up like that. I'm not sure if you could literally cut cheese with a Ritz cracker, but hey, give it a try. All right, Sesame Street, that kids show is about to get a whole lot cuter, if that's even possible. Yeah, check it out. Elmer, Grover, Abby Cadabby, and the rest of the Muppet Gang getting to meet a new character this summer, a white and brown puppy named Tango. Tango's debut, kind of timely because a lot of families brought new pets into their home during the pandemic. The folks at Sesame Street say Tango will let young viewers learn how to safely care for, play with, and love their pets. All right, David, I know you typically bring us the dog walk forecast on Erie News Now Sunrise in the morning. Dog walk's probably better a little earlier on today.
Yeah, earlier in the day. It's still very humid out there, but, you know, if you find a good shady spot, don't take your dogs on the asphalt if you're going to have them out during the afternoon because the asphalt's much hotter than the actual air, and that can certainly affect their paws. And make sure that they have plenty of water as well. We will be looking for some of the storms later on in the day, and again, a few of them could be severe, so if you're planning anything later in the day, maybe a little golf outing, just be aware that those storms may start firing up by then. On Thursday, we'll have rounds of showers and storms, limited sunshine overall. Friday, maybe a few leftover showers and storms. We don't totally get rid of all the moisture in the atmosphere, but this weekend, Saturday, even into Sunday, you can see rain chances down on Sunday. Could be confined a little bit later on in the day. Monday and Tuesday, we see that we have a better chance for some of those showers and storms as temperatures are back up into the 80s. So yeah, a nice little break from the true heat as we slide into the weekend.
Yeah, a nice little cool down as we get into the weekend. Thank you, Dave, and thank you for watching us on here on Facebook Live. We'll do another edition of the NOWCAST about the same time tomorrow, and we've got a half hour's worth of news coming your way at noon on WSEE. So yeah, we'll see you back here tomorrow. Make it a great Wednesday.